Welcome to another episode where if you are a taxi fleet owner, I think you'll be very keen to find out what Lee Kerr and Mike Tyers have to say about petty crime. Guys, can you give me an idea of how you're making a difference to the typical taxi office and any war stories?
I'll start off.
You start.
Not going to name any names, and I won't name any company names because obviously GDPR. But my experience with a few taxi companies, and the taxi operators will understand this and they'll agree with it. You know, they've got senior management in place for numerous years, and with any business with cash, you're going to have sticky fingers. We all know it. It doesn't matter if it's the taxi industry, or if it's the retail industry, or if it's the bar industry, or hotel industry. You're going to have cash leakage. But numerous times, because the operators are so busy, they're either so busy running their companies and they've dedicated managers to deal with the cash. They didn't have the systems in place to monitor properly. Mm-hmm. There's horror stories within the industry where managers or supervisors have been fiddling, just not hundreds of pounds a week, thousands of pounds a week. You're wondering why you're driving up this operator business and the manager's sitting with a brand new car, or they're on new car vans, or they're wearing nice holidays.
Nice holidays.
And it's so now that they're now getting proper invoice systems in, proper systems in through DriverPay. Now they're realising, hold on a minute, we're properly now doing our accounts. Why is there a negative in the balance sheet? Why were we missing £2,000 or £3,000 a week? They can go backtrack and allocate and find out where this money's went to. And obviously we won't go into details what's happened to these people, but obviously they don't have any more jobs there within that business. I was in with a client in London just roughly about a year ago, and always dealt with a manager, and I asked the new owner, saying where is this particular manager, and he just said gone. Why? Hundreds of pounds missing a week. And look, that's their own internal problems, but it's a major problem. I know with our technology it'll halt that problem and isolate that problem, because yes, you're still dealing with cash, but it's isolated to only a number of people within the industry, within their office environment. So only senior managers or directors will have keys, and they count the money and they take the money from the kiosk.
And also the Fusion will give you reports back in here how much he's taken.
Yeah.
So all you got to do is bag the money up and take it to the bank.
It gives you a full overall view of what's the current company balance. £10,000, yes, then there's £10,000 here, and if there's any missing money, then it'll only be down to a limited number of people where that money's went to.
So if you have a HR issue, you've got incontrovertible evidence, as they say, because you've got the full audit trail.
There's a full audit trail there with the cash.
Yeah, very hard for them to explain. So guys, obviously that's a typical back office situation, and you could probably pay for a machine with the savings that you could make by spotting errant employees. What about other types of fraud like chip and pin?
Well, there's lots of, we've looked at the industry with regards to chip and pin, in the car, in the office. For instance, if a driver calls up and says, I'll pay by card, and he takes his payment over the phone, he can pull that payment back when he leaves. And not weeks later, months later, he still pull payment back. He can do, saying fraudulent payments on his credit card, because it's not. It has to be three. Card details have to be inside with a PIN number to be. Not what's the word? More secure. And over the phone payment is not a secure payment, so you will get clawbacks through our app. It's digital. It's done. It's no way you're getting a clawback. So he can't, when he does leave, you've been paid.
Yeah, there's 3D secure. So within the payment app, if any driver is paying by the app, it's 3D secure to the banks. So the risk factor for an operator is virtually zero. They're guaranteed their money, and it eliminates any clawback from the credit card or debit card companies, because there's security built to our app.
To the app.
And finally, you've got, of course, counterfeit money. How are you protecting fleets? Because obviously you could have a bent driver and he has a wad of counterfeit notes and he puts it into your cash machine.
We answered that one before.
Yeah, look, counterfeit money, obviously there's the current paper format, but obviously they're changing the Bank of England, and the remaining banks through Scotland and Northern Ireland are changing to the new polymorph notes. I've recently seen Northern Ireland's changed to new polymorph notes. There's the 50s going to be changed, 20s, 10s and 5s. With any criminal activity, they're always going to be sophisticated. There's always new technology out there. But with our banking partners, and obviously the Bank of England, they test notes all the time, and obviously that's fed through the security software. So our note magazines are constantly being updated for that security element. And if any did get passed, if by chance it did, it would be the serial numbers are checked, the notes are detained, and it's sent to the Bank of England to be updated through security again. But at the moment, at this time, none of our machines have accepted any fraudulent notes at the moment. There is a small story I will cover, and I'll blame our technical director, actually, Andrew, and he'll probably laugh at this, so he will. So obviously we have a client, Max Taxis, up near Blackburn, and Andrew phoned us roughly about 6 or 7 weeks ago, and he was shouting his head off that one of our machines took a dodgy note there. And I said, no, there's not a chance. Give me the serial number. We went straight on to our main supplier, which also sits on the Bank of England, and it so happened that was not. He checked the serial number with the Bank of England and checked everything. The note was a real note. What happened was the driver washed the note. It was actually washed through a wash machine, but it was real tender.
Right.
Andrew just had to laugh at that. But there's a small story just to say he thought it did take a fake note. It would have been our first fake note, but I was more sure it was not our fake note. And after us doing our checks and balances, it was a real note. It was just washed.
Guys, I think that's been a really good overview of why you can make a brighter future, but also a more secure future for fleets. So thank you very much.
Thanks, John.
Thanks, John.